everybody, Miss Melissa here from the East Greenwich Free Library, ready to teach you how to make seed paper to celebrate Earth Day. Let's look at the materials that you will need to complete this project.
First, you will need paper. You'll see the kits we provided had some green and blue paper just to make an earth, but it can be any kind of paper, some wildflower seeds, and 2 bowls, which you will later fill with water.
Okay, once you've got your materials ready, the first thing you're going to do is shred your paper. So take a piece of paper, and there are 2 different ways that we can shred this. The first way is to just tear the paper. It doesn't really matter if you're tearing it into little strips. You just want them nice and kind of tiny, because the smaller they are, the easier they will break down in the next step. So you could easily just tear the paper. I noticed we had 2 bowls. You're going to have 2 different bowls so that you can have a bowl of the green paper and a bowl of the blue paper. So as you shred it, you can just put that paper right in the bowl. The other way to do this is to use scissors. If maybe you don't want to keep tearing with your hands, or if you want a nice, easy scissor practice activity for some of the younger kids, you can just cut strips, and then again, just cut little pieces. And that's another great way to do it. It's, like I said, it's a wonderful fine motor activity if you're practicing using scissors, because you can't mess it up. All you want to do is just cut up the little papers, and once you've got all of your paper nice and shredded, we'll move on to the next step.
All right, we have our 2 bowls here, one with the green paper and one with blue paper, and see all the paper is fully submerged in water. You're going to want to let the paper sit for a few minutes so that it can get nice and soft and easier to shred. If you have a blender or a food processor, you can take turns putting the bowls in the processor and adding water as needed to get kind of a nice thin paste. If you don't have a processor and prefer to keep it hands-on, you can do what I'm doing in the video and just start shredding the paper. Like I said, the longer you let it sit, the easier it'll be to shred. You really want to get that paper shredded as thin, as finely as possible in order to make the paste in the next step. Once you have your paper shredded, you're going to take it out and start making your seed paper. If you have some sort of strainer, you can strain the water that way, or you can do what I'm doing. I just kind of squeeze the water out and I'm laying it out onto a paper towel. I'm kind of making my clump that will become the paper, adding paper to it as I need, and as you can see, I'm still squeezing out that water as much as possible before I put it on the paper towel. And you can form whatever shape you want. If you have cookie cutters, you can form shapes with the cookie cutters, or you can just kind of make a rough circle on your own and keep adding until you have a nice lump. And like I said, as you can see, as I'm pushing in, I'm kind of squeezing the water out. And now with the paper towel, I'm going to squeeze some more water out. You want to try to squeeze all the water out while you work. Now I picked it up. It's a little crumbly. It's going to be more crumbly if you did it where you just shredded the paper by hand than if you used a processor, and that's okay. If you notice some pieces are falling off, you can just add some more paper to it as necessary until you get the shape and consistency that you feel comfortable with. Like I said, throughout this whole process, keep squeezing out the water as much as possible. And there you go. Once you have finished forming your seed paper, you're going to take the seeds that are included and press them into the paper so they kind of stay in place. And then find a nice sunny spot to let your paper dry out. Be patient, this might take a little while. Once it's dry, you're ready to plant.
And voila, we have our own seed paper. Now to do this project, you can use any kind of paper. I packaged some green and blue paper in my kits so that we can make look a little bit like a globe. It also, like I said, it forms a little bit better if you use a blender, but you can certainly, if you don't have a blender available, if you're trying to make it just a little bit more kids hands-on, you can certainly do it without a blender. And to plant it, you're just going to cover it in dirt. Dig a little hole, cover it in dirt, give it some water, and let the sun and rain do its work. And hopefully you should have some lovely flowers this summer. All right, thank you so much for participating in this program. Happy Earth Day. Bye, everybody.